grace. We laugh when it's hard and we fight there too. Cause God's got a plan for me and you. We're keeping it H-O-T, honest, open, transparent, you see. Bridging hearts, baby, where love's supposed to be. From the vows we set to the dreams we chase, we're building forever in God's embrace. So, bridging hearts from the kitchen table.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Like you guys, want to thank you guys for joining this morning. Just as you come in, just please like and share. We're going to give you guys a few minutes. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your morning to join us. So just like and share. We really appreciate that. So what we'd like to do is, first of all, welcome you.
Yes.
So we want to welcome you to another session on Marriage on Purpose podcast.
Yes.
Where we believe strong marriages don't happen by accident, they happen on purpose. And we're your hosts, Gary and Rhonda Jackson. And in this space here, it's all about honest conversation, practical wisdom, as well as real stories that help couples grow, communicate better, and stay connected in every season of their marriage. So we know that today's show is going to be an awesome show. The couple we have coming before you today is such an outstanding and loving couple. We really appreciate them taking their time out of their day just to join us so they can impart into us all some great wisdom and knowledge.
Right. And so I'm sure some of you, if you know me, you probably know this couple. And we're going to bring them up on stage now. This is Erica and Marquis Young. Hi,
right.
you two.
Hey guys, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Doing good. Doing
We're
good.
excited to be with you guys on this morning.
We're excited to have you.
Awesome. Really appreciate it.
Yes. So we're
ahead,
going to
Ms.
go ahead
Jackson.
and get started. Okay, with the questions. So first of all, how long have you been married?
This year, April 29th, we've been married for 20 years.
20
Are you
years.
serious,
Yep.
Erica?
Yes, 20
Yeah.
years.
You cannot be more than 20 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
She robbed the cradle.
Yeah. For 20 years.
20
Wow.
years.
Years.
Yeah, I can't believe it either.
Wow. And so you do have 2 children, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So we know we're going to get some great wisdom tonight.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was
20
that
years.
long. And you all, I'm asking questions because I have like a little inside information on these two. These are my cousins, Erica and Marquis. And but I didn't even realize it had been this long.
Yeah.
Wow. Erica, you are our first cousin, right? No. You're the
No,
second-
I'm your second cousin, but
yeah,
I
it
get
seems
the
like
first cousin privileges.
right. Yes, she's been in my life all her life. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with the questions. You want to ask the first question, babe?
Sure. Well, first of all, we just want to know, let us, how did you guys two meet?
Yeah.
First
okay.
of all.
Yeah.
You want to take it?
So, we met in high school. I think we both was going into our freshman year of high school. We met at a roller drum in Madison.
At
in
where?
the skating ring. It was called a roller drum. That was the name of it.
It was
Okay.
a skating ring, and back then, all the teenagers on Friday and Saturday nights would go hang out at the skating ring, and so we met at the skating ring. And the interesting thing is that he was from the west side of Madison. I was growing up on the east side, mainly of Madison, and this roller drum skating ring that we met at, he had never been there before.
And never been back.
And he never went back except for the one time we met.
Yeah.
Wow. And you want to know what's funny? You two are the third couple that met at a roller
And
rink.
bring
Of all the couples that
Wow.
come through, you are the third one.
yeah.
So just a tidbit for our listening audience. If you're looking to be married, go to the skating ring.
Ring.
Yeah, you're the third couple that met at the skating ring.
Wow.
Awesome.
So at what point did you realize that this was your person? This is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with?
I mean, it took some time. We was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't like me right away. And that's her sister Drea gave me her number. She said, I can't have boys call. So so I had to navigate through that, and so we dated about 2 years in high school,
Mhm.
when we was in high school. And then I went to college in Atlanta, Georgia, to Morehouse, and she stayed here and went to the University of Wisconsin Parkside. So that distance, so we broke up for
Mhm.
5 years. So we was apart.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we was apart for 5 years. And then I got in another relationship. She got in another relationship. But one thing I will say, we always like used to talk, always stay connected, like nothing changed. And so I know for myself, I let her speak on her half. I got out of the previous relationship, and we used to always stay connected, and the Lord just told me, like, hey, this door is open for a reason. And
Wow.
so I didn't know what that door was, and I called her. It was early in the morning. I called her and said, I want to go through this door. I want to spend my life with you. And she said, I was thinking the same thing, or
Wow.
she was
I
saying
don't
she
know.
was
I didn't
thinking,
say it just
she.
like that.
Okay, what's your story, Erica?
Yeah.
So for me, like he's right, we met in high school, and so we went our separate places for college. And part of the reason that we broke up is because when I went away to college, that's when I began to get extremely serious in my walk with God and my relationship with God. And so he was not, he had a different way of walking out his faith, and mine was more along the path of, no, I'm serious, I want to be holy, I want to live right for God, I don't want to compromise. And so that is what drew the for us to break up, because I was like, I'm focused on my relationship with God, and I want to be genuine with him. I don't want no distractions, and if you're not on that path, then this is just not for me. And so
Wow.
we ended up breaking up as a result of that. And so I really just threw myself in my relationship with God during those years after we had broken up. And so we were apart for 5 years, but in the process of us being apart, he was in Atlanta, I was in Wisconsin. God started actually dealing with him. And
Mm.
and so I think for me, it was a God thing, because I could, oftentimes women, we tend to want to be in these relationships and try to change the other person. But God had to bring me to a place to say, hey, this is your walk, your relationship with me. He's not on that path right now. You don't try to change him. You let me do what I need to do. And so as I began to get closer to God, that was what drew that division amongst us. I knew I had to make a choice. And so
Yeah.
that's what happened. And so when we broke up for that 5 years, he ended up giving his life over to God and getting filled up with the precious gift of the Holy Ghost, getting baptized, and God just began to do a work in his life. But
Wow.
he still didn't bring us back together right away.
Mm.
So we were
Mhm.
still apart, in separate locations. And so after I graduated from school and he graduated, I would see how there would be times we would go months, we wouldn't even talk. But when we would talk, we would talk forever, hours about
Get off the phone.
what about everything. Like we would just, talk, and so when it came to a point where I was like, man, why? I said, Lord, why is it that I could go months without talking to him, and then I talked to him, and it's like we never missed a beat. And
Wow.
then, and so I began to pray. I prayed, and I asked the Lord. So Lord, I was like, what do I do with this? And so, I asked God for three things, and He did everything I asked Him to do.
Wow.
I said, Lord, he's in a relationship with another young lady. I don't want to break that up. I
Okay.
need you to be the one to do that. And then the other thing I said, Lord, give him the mind to want to come back to live in Wisconsin without me asking him. He did that. And then I said, Lord, if I am his wife, I need you to show him. I don't want to tell him. And God did that.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Dang, that was good.
God
Okay.
is good.
Yeah.
God is good. So the other question that I have is that you just spoke on about you guys being separated and you going off to college and things of that nature and how you guys got back together. And seeing that you got married and before you were seeking, you needed to seek God for yourself and get a greater connection with Him. So, what conversation had to happen between the two of you
That's good.
before you got married that you couldn't avoid? Seeing that you wanted to get close to God and you needed Him to get close to God as well, and to know who He was, and for you to develop your relationship with God to know who you were. So, what conversation that you had to have in order before you decided to get married?
Yeah.
You want me to take that or you? Well, I'll say this. So I think the conversation we had to have was separate from the conversation about the relationship with God, because I think that was something that was ongoing that we already knew. Like that one was pretty well established. But right before like we got married, the biggest thing for me was we need to talk about credit.
Yeah.
We needed to talk about what is your credit score? What kind of debt do you have? Because when I made the decision to get married, I knew that I wanted to be married to somebody I could help him become a better person. And we could build a life together. And so part of that for me was, okay, whatever you do is going to affect me. So let me know what your situation is before we move forward. And so that was the difficult conversation that we had to have.
And I think I think it helped, and especially, my credit score was low, was low, like in the 500s, and hers was very good, like in the 700s. So I was just like, well, if I could just get to 600, I'll be good with the credit score, And they just like, I remember, our parents, they, and her, she looking at me like, just 600, we were 700, 800 over here. So, it kind of had to, adjust my mind in that aspect, with that, with the financial portion as well, with each other. I think that was kind of the biggest things. I think when because we was apart for so long, so when we got back together, it was already some things we already, was ready to make that commitment to each other.
Right. So the credit score wasn't a deal breaker.
I thought it was gonna be.
No, I mean, for me, it was like, this needs to be addressed. Like, this was that was my approach to him. Like, look, this needs to be addressed. And from what I know, I'll share with you and I'll help you. And then as we move forward, this is how we're going to move forward, because I take my name real serious.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Little credit card during college and stuff. So
yeah, in
it
college,
wasn't,
right?
yeah.
So what surprised you most once marriage and family became real? What surprised you most about marriage and family life?
I mean, I think just the kind of the shock and maybe just wasn't prepared. I mean, I think just knowing this is the person I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, so it's like that constant evolving with each other. You know, we met in high school, and now, you know, we're in our mid 40s now. So it's like we're not even the same people, you know,
Mhm.
like 20 years ago. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, and even when I meet with couples, you know, kind of trying to help them prepare themselves, like marriage is not just a short term, you know,
Yeah.
but it's a long, you know, it's long term. So it's definitely constantly have to evolve with that partner, you know, and growing
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
Um, I would say, believe it or not, that there are times that you have to be honest with yourself and say, I don't like this dude today. You
Mhm.
know, and I don't think when you first
I know, right, Marquis?
Yeah.
Me?
I mean, when you first get married, you know, it's just like all this lovey-dovey, you know, but I think like when for me, like the shock was like you don't always, you know, think that you think that everything is just always going to be like cloud nine, and then when you get married and you have those experiences, like this isn't fun. Like
Mhm.
you can have some experiences in just life and relationship, and you know you're trying to, especially like when you aren't married, you're trying to force these two lives and these two separate personalities. Like I have my own upbringing. He had a different
Yeah.
upbringing. We bringing all this
Mhm.
together. And sometimes, you know, there are times it's like, this just ain't fitting the way I want it to, or
Mhm.
I don't like that, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't like the way these pieces are coming together. And
Yeah.
so, like, I think just the reality of that and the shock of that can sometimes be like an eye-opening experience. And guess what? It's okay.
Yeah.
It's actually okay.
Mhm.
That is so awesome because the reason why we were laughing when you said that, when you made that statement, because I tell my wife all the time, there's gonna be some days I don't love you. I'm just because you
Not
Don't
know,
love me,
Rhonda.
you're not gonna like me.
you know, because love is a decision. You
Mhm.
have to
Okay.
decide to love someone.
Okay.
So, but you are in a covenant together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that oversees love, the
Mhm.
covenant. So there's going to be days where you may not feel it, but the knowing that you have a covenant with your spouse, how to help them grow, to for you both to grow, that's what you're willing to do.
Mhm.
Because those
Mhm.
be some days, like you said, there's some days that we have different upbringings, we have different things going on, and there's going to be some days where there's going to be some clashing
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I'm used to doing stuff this way, you used to doing stuff this way, and we're trying to deal that together. And there's going to be some where you have to
Yes.
sand some corners down to make it fit.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you so you're gonna have those rough edges and those disagreements and things, but the main goal is that we're going to jointly fit these pieces together.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do what we need to do to sand down the areas we need to sand down to make a fit.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. There's gonna be some days when you're not really feeling it,
Mhm.
but you know that you need to sand these areas down in order for this puzzle to come together.
That's right.
Oh yeah. You
And
know, and
here I
one
am. I
thing.
thought he
Oh.
I thought I had it made. Like his job is easy. What were you saying, my kids? I'm sorry.
No,
You gotta turn me around a little.
no, you fine. No, I was thinking, like one of the shocks, like when I got married, like even just meals, like I can't eat a meal by myself because she like, let me get peace. And I wasn't used to that, because when we first got married, my food, I'm ready to eat. She like, let me take some of this, let me take some of that. So we laugh about it now. So now I'm just like, here you go.
But it wasn't funny before. Huh?
Yeah.
No, he looked at me though. I remember the first time I asked him, hey, can I have a piece of that? And he looked at me, he said, you got your own food.
Yeah.
Like he looked at me like I disrespected him. But now he's trained very well.
Oh, weird.
Right.
He's trained well.
So.
Now, both of you are working, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Erica, when you went back to school, you was already married, right? Because that
Yes.
wasn't long ago that we came to your graduation. You were married. So now with your demanding career,
Yes.
you can tell everyone what you do. And with Marquis, you're a full-time minister, right? Pastor?
Well, I work. Yep, I work in a senior pastor
A senior
at my
pastor.
church. Yeah.
So how do you balance children, high demanding careers, a ministry? How do you balance all that?
I was gonna say, still trying to balance it.
Yeah.
I think just communication. I know she's busy and kind of laying out what needs to happen. As far as with the children. So we have a 16-year-old, so a sophomore in high school, and a sixth grader. So trying to juggle their schedule, on top of ours. So I think one thing we do, no matter how busy we are, we make sure that someone is there for the kids, or somebody has, that the kids are covered, and what other obligations that we have that they're taken care of as well. So just communication with one another is the biggest key.
Yeah. So for my profession is I'm an attorney.
Okay.
And I practice criminal defense and family law, and both are pretty demanding areas of practice. And so as my husband said, like we often, just make sure that someone is there for the kids with the things that our kids have going on. I will say that when they were younger, it was a little bit different in a sense of how we balanced everything. We had to get to a point where we would say, you guys got to go to bed at a certain time.
Okay.
And so we would stagnate the older daughter. We would stagnate like their schedules. So from 7:30, I remember specifically setting it up from 7:30 to 8:30 was my son time. So we used to say, okay, you got wind down time, and you got, this time you got to go to bed. And and then the other one would go 30 minutes behind the other. And so, okay, now this is your shower time, and you're, then you go wind down in bed for 30 minutes, and then you go 30 minutes after him, and that's your, time. And so we did that with the understanding that the realization that we needed to rest and have time to talk at night.
Yeah.
Because when the kids were awake, they were pulling on us and they required our attention. And so we were like, okay, how do we get that mental break where we can settle down and we can just talk about things we need to talk about at night? And so we did that. So now that the kids are older, it's easier for us to steal away and kind of like just take the time at night if we need to, because the children are now more independent. They're not in our face all the time. They got their own gadgets, their own, homework and things going on for themselves. So, yep. And so, that makes it better. I also am very big at teaching my children to take initiative for the things they need. So like, my daughter, if there's, she knows that she needs certain things. Okay, well then you need to tell me that, because I'm not always going to monitor these things. So I teach them how to take responsibility for themselves. And that takes some of the weight off of me and my husband, and then we're just there to kind of help them navigate through certain, things and the things we gotta be there for,
Right.
So, but balancing is tough. I mean, I don't think we have a guidebook, on how to balance, especially my husband being a pastor. He get calls, he's doing funerals, he's doing hospital visits.
Working
And
full time.
he's working full
engineer. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I said, yeah, I'm an engineer full time.
Wow.
So traffic engineer, then pastor, and
See, I
so
didn't even know that. Wow. Okay.
So we basically we're constantly just working at it.
Yeah.
Okay, with all this working and with you being an attorney and with the workload that you have with the children, with Marquis being with ministry and the other part, your full-time job and the engineer, what boundaries have you guys set or put in place to make sure you all have availability for yourself
For the marriage.
Yeah.
I think something that we learned early on is at least we try to get away at least like a couple of times out of the year. Just take some time for us, especially around our anniversary time. We'll try and do something, weekend away or some, take off, all these hats, and just, just be there for us. Recently we went to Puerto Rico. So, I mean, just still a lot of time just relaxing and resting, so.
And I would add this, like, to go along with the question about how do we steal away from all of our responsibilities. Honestly, I was extremely exhausted before we went to Puerto Rico, and I didn't even realize how tired I was. But my husband took it upon himself with one of his friends to plan a getaway with, him and his wife and so forth. And honestly, like, I was so grateful to him because he knew that I needed it more than I was paying attention to the fact that I needed it.
Took a lot to get her out of town.
Yes. And I had told him, I said, oh my gosh, I said, I think I might have a trial that might run into the day we're supposed to leave. I might have to fly out later, so forth and so on. And he was like, oh Lord. But God worked it out where the trial didn't happen that day. And I was able to get out of town. But it was like that evening, I told him before we left, I said, thank you. I said, I needed you to like kind of force me to take a break because I would have just kept going like the Energizer Bunny. So I think just having a companion that pays attention to you and say, look, no, you gonna take a break. Like, you're taking a break is really good. And that was, especially considering how demanding my work is. I needed that. And then the last thing I say is that we had my godfather pulled us to the side when we got married earlier on. He and my godmother would have annual meetings with us. The first, I say, maybe 2 to 3 years of marriage. And it always happened after our anniversary.
Okay.
And they would say, what happened over this year? What were the good things? What were the tough things? And then he advised us that every anniversary, take time with each other. Every anniversary, get away if you can. And so that's something that we try to adopt.
That is very good. So it sounds like Marquis is the one that sounds the alarm when your marriage needs attention, because he knew that you needed to get away, right?
He did that time, but sometimes it's me.
So who usually sound the alarm when your marriage needs attention?
I think we both have our moments, but
Yeah.
this
Okay.
was the first time he was like, "Look, you
I,
going on
Yeah.
a trip."
I had to put my foot
Okay.
down.
Right.
So Jerry,
Okay. Okay. And I like that what your godparents did too. You know, that's a good takeaway, even for us. That's a
Mhm,
good takeaway. You know, analyze your year. Every
mhm,
anniversary, just analyze the year. How did the year go? What could we have done better? What did we do
hmm
well? And so just even sitting with one another and just having a discussion about, you know, our last year of marriage, that's a very good
Yeah.
takeaway.
Yeah.
mhm,
And that's awesome about you're
Yeah.
being intentional
Yeah.
about
mhm,
discovering one another
Mm-hmm.
and really understanding where you're at and where have you grown and where you need to grow at.
Yeah.
So you're
hmm
being intentional about
Yeah.
all those things, which is so helpful because I think a lot of couples don't do that.
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
They're not intentional about discovering what things they have accomplished, what things they need to grow in, what things they
Yeah.
haven't
Because you
grown
don't even
in,
think about
mhm,
it
because
until trouble
Yeah.
happens.
you don't know because you're not being intentional about
Yeah.
taking the time to just sit down and just
Mm-hmm.
analyzing, hey, this year of marriage, what has worked for us? What has not worked for us?
That's good.
What do we need to get rid of? What do we need to incorporate?
That's good.
mhm,
And
Yeah.
you being intentional about that, which is going to sustain your marriage, is going to sustain
mhm,
your relationship because
Yeah.
you're being intentional about understanding one another and where you need to grow and where you need to let some things go. So
Mm-hmm.
that
mhm,
is so awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I, I like how you said that, just being intentional because just how life,
Mm-hmm.
as they say, life be life. And, you just have
Right.
all these different things that's just pulling on you. So I think, every marriage just needs some time. Just let's get back, let's get away or let's just
mhm,
reflect, let's just put stuff on pause,
Mm-hmm.
everything's emergency.
Yeah.
All right. We're not
Yeah.
gonna respond to this emergency right now. We're gonna let somebody else
Not right
take care
now.
of this. But
Right.
yeah.
Wow. So, what season would you say tested your marriage the most due to your busy schedules?
We actually was discussing it. I think, the season that we're in right now, just trying to take care of some things and just busy with life. The kids are getting bigger and more independent. So it's I think this year or this season has been more of a strain, and I
mhm,
think more of going through some things that we never have experienced before,
mhm,
with these 20 years. So kind of seeing that we can navigate through it and
Yeah.
survive through it as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with him. Just a lot of the different um, changes that are occurring and us having to set goals and thinking like, okay, we have a daughter that's going to be leaving home in 2 years and she's got to go
Wow.
to college and
Wow.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, I'm the one that typically thinks ahead. Like I'm normally the one that say, "Oh, we got a plan for this. This is going
Mm-hmm.
to be 2 years down the line. This is going to be 5 years, and we need to start prepping." And so, like, I think just us thinking about the reality of
Yeah.
all of that,
Mhm.
and knowing like how do we work hard, make sure we have our daughter positioned so she'd be ready to go to college and and all of the things that go along with that, and still balancing all of our responsibilities. So
Yeah.
it's testy.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
So with you guys being married for 20 years and the things that you've been through and all of that, what do you think you would have done differently if you started over today?
Mm.
Good question.
If anything. I mean, if anything.
If anything, because it sounds like you guys are doing an excellent
Right.
job
you know, I
balancing everything.
I I would think, maybe I know early on, I know wife wanted to move, maybe, move out of Wisconsin, maybe stepped out and maybe, moved out of Wisconsin, and maybe some job opportunities. I know we both had different job opportunities that would have took us, just different paths, and we just never know how, if we would have took some of those things. But I know I definitely wouldn't change who I married. I believe that the
Good.
Lord blessed me with the right one. So
Okay.
we're in this journey together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me to say that I think we honestly, like, I think that we made some great decisions with the help of the Lord.
Mhm.
Like, even, from buying, we bought, a
Property.
home
Yep.
in our 20s,
Mhm.
and still own that home, even though we don't live in it, we still own it, and then just, you know, bought another property. And so, like, just being blessed to be able to do those things, I think those are great
Yeah.
things that gave us a nice foundation for our
Okay.
family
Mhm.
early on. So when I
Mhm.
think about a lot of different things that decisions we made, I mean, not necessarily perfect, but I think we've made some pretty solid decisions.
That's good.
That's yeah.
Mhm.
That's
That's very
awesome.
good. So,
Yeah.
what truth do you think busy couples need to hear, even if it's uncomfortable, especially your age?
Is that as in something we would tell somebody else, or
No. What
something?
truth do you feel like busy couples, like, yeah, you're talking to someone, another
Mm-hmm,
couple, and what
mm-hmm.
truth do you think that they need to hear, even if it's uncomfortable, concerning the busyness in marriage?
I would say busy couples need to hear that it is important to be intentional, that it is important to take time for your companion, um, that it's important to look at when you have children, that sometimes you gotta put your children second as
Mhm.
opposed to first, so
Mhm.
to speak,
Mhm.
so that you can make sure your relationship is able to continue to go. Because
Mhm.
when you don't spend time together, when you don't communicate and you're not talking, you're not connected, it's easy to kind of be drawn away from each other, to
Mhm.
separate, be divided, and you don't even realize it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I say, don't neglect, don't neglect your relationships, even when for us, when we met, I was like a buck 10, and he probably was like a buck 40, maybe, and neither one of us is nowhere near that right now.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's like, but guess what? It don't matter. It's okay. We've grown together. What we have is solid. We love each other,
Yeah.
and so I think it's important to really, ain't nothing gonna stay the same, baby. Like,
Mhm.
nothing's going to stay the same. But guess what? Value, when you had those moments when you were young and things was like lovey-dovey, value that moment. But guess what? As you grow and you go through those challenges and you make it through those challenges, and your love grows even more and more for each other, to where
Matures.
it matures.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not about looks. It's
Yeah.
not about, you know, this person is my slim goody, as my mama used to call my dad. you know or it's not about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your love just grows, it matures, and to
Mhm.
me it really does. It gets so much more better
Yeah.
as you stay in it.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. I love
And
that. Okay.
I
Yeah.
I would say for busy couple, learning the word no. you know, something we don't want to do. You know, we feel so obligated. We got to be there, Johnny on the spot. But you know, as the question that you asked about the boundaries, I think
Mhm.
sometimes we just have to say no. You know, this is the time I'm gonna spend with my spouse. This is the time I'm gonna spend with my family. You know, and we, you know, we'll follow up on this later. But you know, I
Yeah.
think, you know, making time, staying true to who you are, staying true to your values, you know, no matter how busy we are, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing this, I'm not sure where I got this from, but someone said the best relationships, like a genuine relationship, is low maintenance. So you don't have to be like, dude, what you doing, honey? You know, I don't have to be so insecure, you know,
Yeah.
honey, who you talking to, you know,
Ooh,
but
Right.
yeah.
knowing, you know, who she is, who I am, you know, and being secure in that.
Wow. I love that.
And that is so awesome. and
Yeah.
and and the reason you can do that is because the maturity that you have developed,
Mhm.
that you've grown into, where I don't have to worry about my spouse,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because we've grown enough to understand one another and understand how we both respond. I don't have to be insecure wondering
Hmm.
who she's talking to on the phone. But that comes
Mm-hmm.
with maturity, that comes with growth.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, you have to grow,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
a marriage, you never, and I tell people this all the time, you never master marriage,
Yeah.
That's right.
because you're constantly growing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because you're not the same person you were 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You're really not the same person you were
Last
last night.
year.
That's right.
you know,
That's right.
and you're changing, but how do you adapt to that change? How
Mhm.
do you grow, and how do you bring that together? Is where the maturity becomes in, because you have to learn how to grow in that situation, because you're gonna change,
Mhm.
and that's just part of life.
Yeah.
Life,
Yeah.
like you said, life is life, and there's
Mm-hmm.
areas where you're gonna change, but the commitment that you have, the covenant that you have with one another, you're able to grow in that commitment and make it stronger,
Yeah.
and not
Mm-hmm.
let
Yeah.
it hinder you, because we're changing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're not. It's like we not like we change it for the worse or anything like that, but we have different
Yeah.
needs, and different
Mm-hmm.
part, and certain things, hinder us or happens throughout the course of our lives. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to learn how to grow with that and change and adapt to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's so awesome that the two of you all came together
Yeah.
to learn and to understand how to be mature enough to grow in that situation,
Yeah.
and not, you know, go off on one another and say, "Oh, you did this and I did that," but understanding, okay, what do we need to do to make this situation
Mhm.
better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I like to always say it, since we in this, we might as
Yeah.
well make it, pleasurable for both of us,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
ain't no sense in making it miserable. If
Right.
Right.
you in the relationship, you married, make
Mhm.
make it work for you.
Make it work. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you were saying that about changing and how everybody changed, each of you changed, I thought about the conversation that we had with Smokey and Megan. Did you see that
Hmm.
interview?
I saw some of it.
Yeah, with
Mm-hmm.
Smokey and Megan, and Smokey was like, "I don't know who I'm going to wake up with tomorrow." Like she always changing. I'm like, it's so silly. But yeah, I mean, it
You-
does. I mean, you do change. Yeah. But so we just want to know, do you have any last remarks or a question, and not questions, or advice that you will offer to our listening audience, or to those, let's say, those that is seeking to be married, since you was dating at a young age, and then you end up marrying, you can, so to speak, your high school sweetheart.
Mhm.
um is there any advice you would give those that is seeking marriage?
I think the main thing is, your relationship with the Lord, and to pray, prayerful, You know, when you talk about entering in a covenant, you know, with a spouse, I think it's not a light, you know, it's not like a light thing, you know, just some, but some that definitely be prayerful, you know, and pray, you know, pray for that partner and pray, be mindful, and also be true to yourself, you know, and you know, be true to yourself. If because everybody that talk about marriage don't necessarily want to be married. You if you follow me, but you know,
True.
am I ready? Am I mature? Because it is a maturity level
Yeah.
of being with someone, and through the ups and through the downs, you
Don't
know,
be selfish.
I'm
Yeah.
not just gonna leave at the first sign of trouble, you know, our first argument, but it has to be some endurance, you
Right.
know. So that's why I say you definitely need the Lord, and to be prayerful about that situation, that this is the right one that the Lord wants you to be with, and not just because I want to fulfill, you know, some flesh, because you
Right.
know that's gonna come and go, you know. And like,
Yeah.
well, I remember one of the elders at the church told me in Atlanta. He said, Marquise, you know, marriage ain't all about sex, Marquise.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
That's
you
true.
That's
know, because
true.
he was telling me at the end of the day, you know, you still have to be with that person and talk with that person and communicate, you know.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say take your time.
Mhm.
Um, don't move too fast because you really do need to think long term. Don't think short term.
Oh yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, because if you just looking at right now, then that's just temporary. But
Yeah.
think long term about, you know, how you can really build a life. Can you build a life with this person?
Hmm.
You know, can you guys work together? Don't build it. Make sure it's not on lust. I used to always pray. I said, God, don't let me choose a companion, or don't let me be and involved in a relationship with somebody just based upon lust. But help
Hmm.
me to see beyond that, because lust wears off,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
lust ain't gonna pay the bills.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. And so, and the last thing is, for me, that was very important for me with my husband, that I would say to other people is, know that the person you marry loved the Lord, because I believe that if he loved God, that he can know that he will allow God to teach him how to love me right.
Hmm.
Mm.
Because if he couldn't submit himself and humble himself to God, then man, it's a 50-50 chance he might
Yeah.
not be good for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, good to me. But if he loved God, then he will learn how to love me the right way.
That's good. That's good.
That is so awesome. We just really appreciate you guys, Marcus and Erica, coming on this
Thank you.
morning,
Hmm.
because this, and people need to see this. Even they've been married 20 years.
Hmm.
They have children.
Hmm.
They have busy schedules,
Uh-huh.
but
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
but yet they are connected.
Yeah.
And I think
Mhm.
that's one of the one of the most important things that they have going. They are connected.
Yeah.
And I, even with their busy schedule, even with their children,
Yeah.
even with their own personal things they want to do, but they are staying connected
To one another.
to one
Yeah.
another.
That's
And that
good.
is so awesome, because a
Yeah.
lot of people lose that connection in the busyness of their day, in the
Yeah.
busyness of their
Mhm.
job. They lose that connection.
Yeah.
And but
Mm-hmm.
you two have developed and made a way to really keep that connection going,
Yeah.
where you can sustain your relationship, where you can sustain your marriage. And that is so awesome. I
Hmm.
think that's one of the most important things, because we can get busy and doing a lot of stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
then we lose connection with our spouse. We're
Yeah.
not there,
That's
we're
Mm-hmm.
true.
not present.
Hmm.
But you all have shown a way to be present, and you have demonstrated it, that in the when you have these busy schedules and things like that, you still can stay connected.
Yeah.
So people can't assume that, well, I'm too busy. No, you're busy, but you need to stay connected.
That's right.
And you can show that you are, even though you're busy, you still learn how to still stay connected.
Yeah.
So I think that is so awesome.
It is. It is. Well, thank you two so much. This has been
No
so
problem.
enlightening. I really, 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 this has been somewhat like a heartfelt interview. You know, it's so heartfelt. I feel, you know, like my husband was just saying, the connection with the two of you. And I mean, this is there, it's been, and we've learned something like we got an anniversary coming up on the 10th. So we're gonna have to
All
figure
right.
out a come to Jesus moment.
Uh-oh.
But
I gotta
yeah,
add some
but
more gray
I
to that
do-
beard, huh?
yeah, but this has been very good. I really, really
Yes.
appreciate
Yeah.
this interview with the two of you.
Yes.
What
And
I
I
love
thank you
about-
guys.
Oh,
I was
not a
gonna just
problem.
say, I thank you guys. You know, I do check you guys out when I get a chance, and
Mhm.
I see when you first started and how you guys have evolved. So you
Wow.
guys keep doing what you're doing. You know, it's certainly
Yeah.
encouraging to other couples.
Yeah.
You know,
Amen.
yes, to the
I
body of
appreciate it.
Christ.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
And thank you.
Amen.
Thank you for the opportunity to
yes.
be able to share, you
Mhm.
know, some of our experience with others
Mhm.
on your platform.
Yes.
And appreciate that.
Not a
Yes.
problem. Because I think that is so awesome. That's
Mhm.
why we're doing this, because of couples like the two of you,
Yeah.
how people can glean and they can get a greater understanding of their marriage. And and because a lot of people think they're the only one that are going through what they're going through,
Yeah.
when it's not. We all
That's right.
are going through some things,
Yeah.
Yes.
but it's how you work that thing out.
Mhm.
And you two have demonstrated
Yeah.
how to work that thing out, how to come together as one.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what we love about this. That's what we love about this platform, because you're demonstrating what couples can do
Yeah.
in the midst of anything,
Mhm.
that they can still grow,
Thank you,
that they
Lord.
still can maintain that love they have for one another,
Yeah.
even in the busy schedule, even in the the ins and ups and downs. But you are showing what you can do with God in your life,
Yeah. Yeah.
to encourage you, to strengthen you, to give you wisdom to navigate through all those decisions.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, God tells you you're going to go through trials and
Yeah.
tribulations.
Mhm.
So
But it's
you know
gonna
you're
make
going to
you
go through
stronger.
trials and
Yeah.
tribulations. What you get mad about? Because God told you you're going to go through these trials and tribulations. So what
Yeah.
you need to do is, how do we overcome these trials and these tribulations? What do we need to do to overcome these things? And he gives you that, and God will give you that information, and he will give it to you. Just like you said earlier, that in the broadcast, that God had to speak to Marquis regarding about you and how to love you. So he had to download it into him to
That's
learn
right.
how to love himself, to love you.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
he will give you that answer,
Yes.
but it's just you have to have that relationship with him in
Amen.
order to
That's
get
it.
there.
Amen,
Yes.
Reverend Jerry.
But
That was good, though. It was good.
yeah, we really, like I said, we really appreciate you guys joining us on this morning. I mean, this has just been an awesome interview, and we really appreciate you guys taking the time out.
Yes.
All
So
right.
thanks again. And
Thank you guys.
yeah. And so y'all have any questions, make sure you put it in the comments, and we'll all come back on into the comments to answer any question you may have for Marquis and Erica. And like and share, and show them some love, you all. Just show them some love. And I truly love this couple. I thank God for them. We try to be there for one another as often as we can. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yes.
came all the way with their busy schedule. They drove all the way from Wisconsin to even be at our wedding. You know,
Yes.
Yeah.
and as busy as they are, you know, they still make time for the things that they want to do. So thank you all for that too. I never did thank you enough for that. Right? 4 years later.
Yeah.
That's how family do you.
Yes. So thank you, y'all.
Thank you, guys. We
We'll talk
really
to you
appreciate
again
it.
Love you
soon,
too.
okay?
Yes.
Okay, love y'all.
God bless y'all.
Have a good night.
Bless you.
Bye.
Wow.
Wow, that was good.
This was awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, they are so. I mean, you can just see the joy
Yeah.
and
And the
and the
connection.
connection that they
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
in this interview, and it's just so powerful. So we just pray that you guys receive something from this.
Yeah.
That you glean from this, and if you know someone that has a busy schedule like they have,
Make sure you share.
make sure you share this.
Yeah.
Encourage them.
Mhm.
Let them know that in spite of what they're going through, they can make it.
Yep.
They can
Amen.
make it.
So yeah, so thank you all so much for coming on, for tuning in. We really, really, really appreciate it. We ask that you like and share, that you follow us on and subscribe to our YouTube page, and follow us on Bridging Hearts Facebook page. And there we just be dropping different sayings and different photos and different things on our Bridging Hearts Facebook page. So just come be a part of the community. We love having you. And if you know anyone that's married that would love to be on our podcast, hit us on the inbox, okay? So thanks again, you all. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless
God
you
bless
all.
you all.
Talks to the prayers late at night. We know love's a battle, but we're still holding tight. Got a card game to spark up the flame again. Reignite the fire with your lifelong friend. Love is a gift, oh, straight from above. Designed for his purpose, sealed with his love. Every tear, every laugh, every baby, I'm sorry. It's all part of the story.